Last but not least, the market is very, very bad. Marcus is getting hammered. Now, you guys already know that I look at that as a buying opportunity. But I'm not just talking about the stock market. I'm also talking about the job market. The job market is bad. It is horrible. I was listening to somebody on YouTube, and he was saying that unofficially, Stellantis is basically the company that ultimately bought Dodge and Chrysler. And it was saying that they was running it into the ground, that the price is too high. They're not really investing in American workers. And more importantly, there's a rumor that is going around, and I can't substantiate it officially yet, but there's a rumor that's going around, and they basically getting rid of all American workers that are in corporate. So remember when I told y'all when they filed in and they ultimately voted in the UAW contract and they ratified it? Well, Stellantis is running a minimum amount of shifts. They pricing their stuff overly, and their CEO is basically running the company into the ground. And they're also allegedly removing themselves from Auburn Hills. So Auburn Hills is a suburb of Metro Detroit where you have Ford, Chrysler, and GM. We call it Chrysler. Y'all can call it Stellantis, but we've always called it Chrysler. And General Motors is right here in downtown Detroit. Ford Motor Company, they just opened it up in the train station here in downtown Detroit. But they're also in Dearborn. Dearborn is literally like 15 minutes away from here in downtown Detroit. And then Stellantis or Chrysler or Dodge, however you want to label it, is in Auburn Hills, which is, I would say somewhere around 35 to 45 minutes away from here, depending on traffic, right? And so when we call it Detroit Automakers, it's really Metro Detroit, right? So it's Detroit plus all of the surrounding suburbs, because as a city go, in most instances, the rest of the economy goes and we're all tied together, right? So even though General Motors have their headquarters here in Detroit and Stellantis have their headquarters out there in Auburn Hills, Michigan, I'm hearing that, and a little birdie and all of the employees are saying that they basically telling everybody either you're going to take this buyout or we kicking you out. And it's people that's been there for 27 years, 30 years or whatever, but they're looking to ultimately close and then completely ravage the company and maybe even sell assets off from Stellantis because they're absolutely running the company into the ground, 100%. So it's a lot of people that are distraught. They bothered. They don't want to know what they're going to do. And they basically saying either take this severance package voluntarily or we going to involuntarily let you go. And so it's a lot of this that's happening everywhere. Nationwide is laying people off. Plants are laying people off. Really gig work is the only thing that's thriving. But in a general sense, it's a lot of layoffs everywhere, all over the country. Tech workers are getting laid off. Stock markets is getting hammered. And I would also tell you that one of the reasons why this is an important thing is because what I'm hearing from the Biden and Harris campaign is that they don't want to talk about the state of the economy. They don't want to talk about jobs. They don't want to talk about big tech. They don't want to talk about layoffs. They don't want to talk about inflation. They only want to talk about abortion rights and whether or not you're voting based off of identity politics. The reason why they're having rallies and they're not having conversations to where they can really substantiate why you should vote for them or not is because they're trying to hold on to hopefully win the election by the end of the year. So you're going to see a lot of photo ops. You're going to see a lot of bad deals as far as them trading, the Russian merchant of death for Brittany Griner, the equivalent of. Russia absolutely got a coup in its last take, but Kamala Harris was there in order to really take the photo op to say, hey, we're bringing Americans back home, and we did it right before the election. You're going to see people start to focus on Sonia Massey and the cop shootings and stuff like that because it's all a distraction from the fact that you cannot feed your family. I'll give you an example from a couple different women that's talking about it right here.
So they laid off 19,000 people at my former employer today. I got laid off from there last year, and I worked there for 24 years. And something about today, I handled my layoff quite well. I mean, I'm not saying I wasn't sad or didn't have any emotions. Of course I did. After 24 years getting laid off, that sucks. But I kind of have handled it pretty well emotionally. Specifically, I've been a lot better at navigating it than I thought I would be. But today, a year plus later, seeing the announcement today of 19,000 people losing their jobs and Not only that, they like decimated the benefits package for the people that are still
19,000 people losing a job at one time. 19,000 people losing their job at one fell swoop. Every industry is reeling. I don't think y'all realize how important this election is. I don't think y'all realize how bad it really is in these streets. It's people that have been working at these places for close to 30 years. They're being forced into retirement. Not voluntarily. They don't want to go. They are being forced. It is bad. And when I say bad, it is absolutely horrifying of what some of these real Americans every single day that is not being highlighted on social media are dealing with and going through in real life.
there. And yes, I have a feeling they're going to cut people's pay and all kinds of stuff, which is just horrible. And it enraged me in a way today that I can't even explain how angry I was. I worked in my backyard on some landscaping for like 2.5 hours. I cut my hand. I broke my power washer. I aggressively pruned a lot of trees in my backyard. But when I finally like kind of came down and relaxed and chilled out a little bit and like felt the rage
Reading that
dissipate,
super chat shortly.
it was the news articles, the news articles and the comments from the C-suite that
I'm going to show you another video. So this is on the side of the people that's getting laid off. I want to show you on the side of the people that are looking for jobs.
I have been unemployed for what's about to be 6 months, and my unemployment is about to run out. At this
And also, before we really understand it, the true context of this, unemployment benefits, as far as what you're getting, as far as I know, it changes from state to state. It's not enough money for you to be able to live on and support your families. It's not enough money for you to be able to live on and support your families. Unemployment benefits is something that you pay into, but it is a lifeline that you cannot live off of and feed your families at all. At all. Jobless, 6 months, working to try to get they another job before their unemployment benefits run out. Check it out.
At this point, I'm just trying to really understand what is it that the job market is looking for. They say they want years of experience, but they won't give you a chance. Or you network with people and that really doesn't get you anywhere. You have the qualifications and the degrees, but still no bites. I've applied to over like 500 jobs and I've either been rejected by them quickly with an email, or I just don't get a response at all. Or I've gone on 3+ interviews and then they tell you that they've gone with another candidate. And let me not even get it started on working with recruiters, and some of them either ghost you or they just forget about you and don't present you to other companies. Then my neighbor, she's in the same predicament, who's also been without a job for almost a year. And this is a woman who's highly qualified for many jobs. The 2024 job market sucks, and it's just like, I don't know what they're looking for. And it really starts to make you question yourself as a person. Like, is it me? Am I not qualified enough? You start to question your skill set, because it's like, what do y'all want? LinkedIn doesn't work. Indeed doesn't work. And I mean, I'm not giving up because I'm still trying, but it's like, what is it that y'all need? And I've done the networking. I've sent my resume out to random companies just, while I'm on the computer. Even while I'm driving, I'm writing down companies. At this point, I'm just not sure what else is going to work.
I know one thing is for sure, and two things is for certain. We can get into the whole way in which you could, manage yourself. I got the Interview Like a King interview inside of the Patreon. For those of y'all that haven't checked it out, make sure you check it out inside of the Patreon, especially before you go on a job interview. We can get into the resumes and how to make yourself stand out and all of that. But the reality is this. Here's the reality. Is that what's really not being talked about, and the thing that they're not going to discuss publicly with you guys, especially during election season, is the fact that for a lot of people, you are already in a recession. In addition to the fact that prices are too high, in addition to the fact that, it's bad out here in these streets and people can't feed themselves and people don't even want to have children anymore because they think that it's going to be too expensive and all of this stuff. And we got the migrant crisis and all of that. It is a lot of people that are saying that they cannot find a job or they are getting laid off. They can't find a job and they're getting laid off. The economy is hit right now, bro. It is. The markets is getting hammered. Markets is getting hammered. The economy is getting hit. And so if you're not in a position to take advantage of it, it then is going to decimate the middle class even more because poor people have been poor for a long time. And so they just know what survival skills are. People that have resources and money, right? And when I say resources and money, I'm talking about people that understand how money works and they put themselves in a great position, which means that they don't have a lot of debt. Think about it. Think about the trifecta of what's going on right now. You have personal record inflation is exploding. Layoffs and a tough job market. One of the ways you can evaluate whether or not it's actually a recession is by looking at commercial real estate. Commercial real estate in most instances will give you a better pulse on what's happening out here when it comes to the market. Then that starts to ripple over into personal real estate as far as single family homes. Foreclosures are up. Debt is skyrocketing, which means that it's a lot of people that's depending on a debt and credit cards in order to maintain a lifestyle, hoping that they get a job so that they can then pay themselves back or they start to pull money out of their 401k. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that's pulling money out of their 401ks. They taking the penalty. They taking a hit. They try not to lose their home. They try not to lose their car. They trying to hold out until they can ultimately, hopefully find a job. And they're getting desperate. And it's been like this for a while. And it's just spiraling out of control and it's continuing to go that way. I think that we headed towards a more severe recession that a lot of people don't want to mention and a lot of people don't want to talk about because they don't want to be shamed and they don't want to feel as though they're a bad person for ultimately losing their house and their cars. I see so many people that send me videos of people saying, man, I don't even care no more. I just want to turn this car in. I can't afford it. Even if I did pay the car note, I can't afford the insurance. I can't afford to drive it and put gas in it. I ain't got no man. I need to get with somebody so that somebody can then help me. 50-50 is starting to look real good right now. It's a ton of videos where people are saying, you know what? It's not looking so bad on getting a roommate, getting a partner, maybe getting with that guy that I may not like that much, but we can figure it out together because it's getting bad out here in these streets. When people got money and they flush, they got options. When people start getting dusty and dark, $40 start looking a little better. Start looking a little better. We're going to deep dive into it. I don't want to hold y'all too long because I already done been on here for 2.5 hours, a half hour past the time that I wanted to be on here. But stay vigilant, stay focused. We coming back here tomorrow. We going to hit it. And I'm absolutely going to keep y'all in tune with what's happening in the streets as far as money, politics, and news all across the board. You guys are the greatest audience on earth. I love you. I appreciate you. Let me read.